Hello everyone, it is Nyrisha the Growth Coach, and today is True Growth Tuesday, and welcome back to another nice growing space. I know I've been gone for like a month, but we're back, and I'm gonna do something a little different this time around. So for the month of October, it is my wonderful mother's birthday. So she is an October baby, and so this month I want to do a 4-part series dedicated to my mom. So these series are going to be called What My Mama Taught Me, because she has taught me so much. The woman that you see in these videos, the woman that you know, the woman that I am, 100% goes to her. So these next 4 videos for the month of October will be dedicated to my mom and me sharing with you all what my mom taught me. So then hopefully you guys can take what she taught me, maybe apply it to your life. Hopefully it can help you or twist it and tweak it a little bit, and hopefully you find some value out of these videos. So today's video is breaking generational curses. So I know that's kind of like a trending, I would say, phrase, currently. I don't believe back in the day they were, we were using, breaking generational curses and, using those terms. So that's what this video is going to be called, because that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what my mom did. She broke generational curses when she became intentional with raising her children. So to give you a little background information, if you've never watched any of my videos, I do talk about my mom in quite a few of them. So you may already know her background and our relationship. But if you haven't, I'm gonna just go over it really quick. So my mom is, I believe, the youngest of 6, so she's the baby of the family. She became a mom at the age of 14, between 14 and 15, with my brother, and she dropped out of high school at a young age, of course, because she had a baby. But then she was also taking care of her nieces and nephews at that young age as well. Throughout my mom's life, I would say, but when I got a little older, I want to say when I was in about 7th or 8th grade, my mom began to struggle with drug addiction, which caused us, actually both of my parents, but which caused us to, to get evicted, to, become homeless. We had to separate as a family. I, lived with family. My brother lived with friends, and, that's what the situation was. My mom is also a domestic violence survivor, which is not something that I've talked about. But she was, she's a domestic violence survivor. So my mom has been through a lot. The stories that my mom tells me on the day-to-day basis, just by listening to her stories and the things that she's overcome, I know God is real. But that's just a whole nother topic. But I'm just so thankful that I am still able to have my mom, to, despite all of the things that she has been through, I still have a mom, which is why I'm doing these videos, because she knows I love her. She knows I appreciate her. But this is just something else to, to do in regards to that. So after, that's her background information. And so my mom has told me stories about her being intentional when she was pregnant with my brother. She didn't use the words intentional because, again, these words, the words that we use today were the words that I use today, and that's being used more frequently. Those words were not in my mom's vocabulary, anybody's vocabulary. So at that time, she didn't know she was being intentional, but she knew she was going to do something. She knew that what she saw going around in her family, whether that was alcoholism, whether it was drug abuse, whether it was domestic violence, whether it was, severely disciplining your children, dropping out of high school, my mom noticed, and she was aware of the toxic environment that she was in regards to her family, how she was raised, how her nieces and nephew was raised, how her brothers and sisters were raised. And she knew that she didn't want that for her children. So even while she was pregnant, she would read to my little brother my big brother. She would tell us stories how she would read to him, how she would talk to him, how she would just tell him she loved him. My mom told us that her mother never told her she loved her, never told her, never gave her hugs and kisses, never really showed affection to where that she felt love, that she felt that her mother loved her. So she knew that when she had children, she was not going to do that. She was going to tell her children she loved them all the time. She was going to give them hugs and kisses all the time and all of those things. And when I tell you my mom did that, she does that until this very day. My mom tells us she loves us all the time. She more so kisses my little brother, my actual little brother. She kisses him and cuddles with him a little bit more. But I'm telling y'all, if I was to go up to my mom and like hug on her and kiss on her, she would be there with open arms. I've learned all of that affection to show to my children. I learned that from her. And the thing is, she didn't learn that from anywhere. This was just something that she knew she was supposed to do as a mother because of lack of having that, or even having that example of what that is really supposed to be like. So other things that she did differently from how she was raised was disciplining. So, we whoop our kids in the Black community, and, I would say, in any community, I feel like kids get whoopings, okay? So my mom, her mother would like beat them, she would definitely just if the wind blew the wrong way, they were in trouble. If, whatever they did, they were getting a whooping for it. And so my mom, again, she didn't like that. She didn't understand it. Why are we being disciplined all the time for nothing or for something that we did not do? So she became intentional about the way she disciplined her children, to where if we did get a whooping, she was to make sure that we understood why. She wanted us to know that she wasn't just, disciplining us just because the sky was blue or just because she had a bad day. She made sure that when she was disciplining us, that we understood why we were being disciplined, and that, it was to, in her mind, thinking that she was helping correct our behaviors. I could say for us, they would say, these days, whooping your kids don't do anything. Well, let me tell you, it did something for me and my brother. Of course, you still did stuff, but we wasn't doing crazy stuff all the time. So in her defense, the stuff worked. And then something else she did was she started raising us when we were young. I understand that they may sound crazy, or, may or may not. I don't know what you're thinking. So I'm not a mind reader. I got to stop doing that. But she became intentional in regards to raising us while we were young, teaching us the things that we needed to know when we were young. When I say young, we were young. And, sitting down, having different conversations with us, teaching us different things, and just communicating, teaching us how to, communicate with her, but she was communicating with us and teaching us the things that we needed to learn, or that we needed to know, so that way we can be who we are today. And because she taught us while she was young, by the time she hit her addiction and she was into her addiction and our family was split apart, we were the same. We were the teenagers, because at that time we were teenagers. I was, hitting puberty, in puberty, going into high school. My brother was already in high school. So we were teenagers. And you can, depending on where what you've been through, when you have two parents that are, in their drug addiction, living on the streets, or doing whatever it is that they're doing, you're living with family and your brother's living with friends, you don't really have any supervision. You don't really have somebody telling you, a parent actually telling you, you need to do these things. So all of those things that my mom experienced firsthand, we have yet to experience, and I pray to God we don't ever have to, but we still made the right decisions based off of the things that she taught us. And then the last thing was, she kept us away from that negative lifestyle. For years, my mom was using she would use substances, but it was never, we didn't lose everything. So for years, we didn't even know my mom was doing drugs. Like she was a functioning addict. That's what they're called, a functioning addict, where she was going to work every day, and then on the weekend she would party and we were gone. And then even when she was more so deep into her addiction before we got separated, even then we still did not know. We knew some things may have been wrong, but she did the very best she could to keep us away from that lifestyle. I know that there are parents that have been or that are in their drug addiction that will pull their children in with them to be their enablers, to ask them to do stuff for them, to ask for money and all of those different things. My mom didn't do that. When my mom was in her addiction, she would stay far away from us. She would stay away from us. She didn't want us to see her that way. She didn't want us involved anywhere near close to what it was that she was doing in any of that negativity. And until this very day, I'm appreciative of that, because I've been fortunate enough to be protected from witnessing that type of trauma or experiencing any type of deep trauma rooted from my mother's drug addiction. So that is everything in a nutshell. Again, she's broken so many generational curses in regards to when it comes to raising her children. And I wanted to do this video because we talk a lot about breaking generational curses when it comes to finances, being financially free and, you know, having all the money in the world to where we don't have to struggle financially. But breaking generational curses is so much more than financial, and it's so much more than what we think. That when you become intentional, you can break. Yeah, there are some things that my mom may have dropped the ball on. Yeah, we still, you know, had a parent. We were still a statistic in regards to having parents that suffer from drug addiction and things like that. So no, everything was not perfect. And, you know, she may have missed the mark on some things, but she did right on a lot of things that made a huge impression and a huge impact on our lives today. And it made a huge impression and impact on her grandchildren's lives. So that's what we mean by generational curses, to where me and my brother didn't go through certain things and we didn't experience certain things, to where we didn't take those things, and then now that we have children, our children are not going to go through those things. And even more so, our children are not going to have to witness their parents experience drug addiction. Our children won't have to experience or witness domestic violence and different things like that because of what she's done. So you too, until this day, it doesn't matter if it's finances, it doesn't matter if it's relationships, it doesn't matter. You can still break generational curses. You can still become intentional in regards to raising your children and teaching your kids differently from what you learn. And we do have there are people that have excuses for, well, I didn't have a dad, or I didn't have a mom, and or my mom was like this, my mom didn't love me, my mom didn't hug me or kiss me, so I don't know how to do these things with my children. And I'm letting you know today, if you become aware and you say, I want to do differently, you can do differently. You can learn. Even though you don't have an example or you never had an example, you can learn. So I want to know, how did your parents break any generational curses, if they did? And if they didn't, how will you break the generational curses for your children and your family? And so make sure you comment, make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you share if this video, if you found value from this video, make sure you share it with someone and let them know. But that is your True Growth Tuesday, and until next week, you guys.